Yeah. Ooh. All right, welcome back. So today, after the runs, we're going to go ahead, check these batteries. I'm going to explain why I use batteries that I call basher packs. They're not really speed packs. These battery packs are super old. It's all I have for this RC right now. But there's no reason to buy new batteries yet because it can't handle the power so far. And I don't know if I've ever said this. I think I've said it in other videos. When I do a full charge in my first speed run, whether it's on road or off road, doesn't really matter. Your first speed pass, count it as a burner pass, just to get those surface charge off of these batteries so that they'll stabilize. And then your next pass, when everything's kind of warm, that should be your best run. Usually your second run will always increase in speed, and it's not because everything is just super hot. It's because you can actually put the power down to the ground. When you have too much power, all you're going to do is spin, and you're really not putting the power down. A great thing about speed runs, if you have a long enough road, is that you can drag that out, and you can hear almost like a gear change at the top. So far, with both these RCs, both my Mojaves, I've never heard that second kick off road. Couple of reasons. One, don't have a long enough area. If I can run from park to park, that gives me almost double the surface area, and my times usually increase. So far, that hasn't happened. I've run field to field with the single motor, and it's never done that. It's never gone faster. It's always been faster on one field, even on the Cletus wheels. And I truly believe in these wheels now. Even busted like the one is, it still performs. So it's just amazing to see. The only one that's lost a cleat is the one that I drilled a little too big by mistake. Every time a cleat has come off, it's been my mistake on building the wheels. If I build them, correctly, they seem to hold. So I'm pretty impressed, really excited, can't wait to get the new set, which I think they're going to be here. Today's Wednesday, so I think they're going to be here today. But what I want to do is I got to add some weight to the front of this. So let me grab my weight stuff. So I got some Hoffman's power weights. These are wheel weights for automotive, just lead weight. And I wrap it up in tape. And we're going to get 6 ounces on the front of this. So I believe it's 2 strips. Yeah. So 2 strips. It's 3 ounces per strip. They're .25s. So I'm going to fold these up, tape them up, and we're going to zip tie it to the front of this bumper. I've got, on the single motor, I got double this on the front end of that RC. So far, this one's just floating the front end. But I'm only quarter trigger. So I know if I pull past that quarter, it's really going to pull up into a wheel stand, especially if it's standing up like that. I got to keep the front end down. So we're going to start off with 6 ounces, and then possibly have to go up to 12. Like I said, I got a lot of weight on the front of this RC compared to that, because the motors are faced this way, and it's got a lot of weight sitting up here. And ESCs, everything mounted forward. And then of course the back, The springs, my dual rate spring setup, really worked out pretty well. I'm really impressed. Some people were saying I got to lower the wheelie bar, but if you look at this, when you press down, I can get one finger underneath this before it hits the second rate spring. So the first rate spring drops to where I get one finger underneath this, and then as it accelerates and hits that second spring, I can drag the wheelie bar without lifting the front end. And that's the way I like to set it up, because you got to have clearance. You don't want this thing dragging on the grass the whole time. You just don't want it any lower. So I think the wheelie bar is in a perfect spot. The single motor, I actually have it up a lot higher. This one's a lot lower. The other thing I want to show is battery conditions after 2 runs. I'm going to get these things charged up and head out today. It did rain last night, so everything's kind of damp, so I'm trying to wait for things to dry out, or I'd be down there running already. This morning everything was soaked because 2 a.m. it rained. So 83% on the battery, 16.2, 3.9, 4.1, 4.1, 3.9. So 2 cells low, 2 cells up pretty high. But that's about as low as you want to run the batteries. And that's only 2 runs, because they're only 5200s and they're pretty old. It's pretty hard to ask anything more. So here we go, 16.48, 4.1, 4.1, 4.1, 4.1. This is a newer pack compared to a really old pack. You can tell this pack is split. These little Electron Pros, I'm telling you, this pack here is 3 years old. Almost 3.5. This pack I bought this year. It's about 6 months old. I had to buy 2 replacement because I had two packs go bad, or starting to go bad. So at that time I decided to go ahead and pick up some new packs. I try to put 1 new pack on each side and 1 old pack, just to kind of even out the ESCs. This one on top, I think, is a, not sure if this, they all start looking the same after a while. You can tell by the cells on which one's old and which one's new, just by checking them. I want to say this is the newer pack, but I really believe it could be this one. But we'll check it real quick. Usually don't show this on camera. 1641, you can see how even the whole cell count is. 41, 41, 4106, 4102. Another new pack. You can tell this pack is new. This pack ain't gonna read that way. 1640, 40, 41, 41, 40. Not bad. So out of these, I have 1 pack that's pretty dying. This pack is pretty dying. I have 1 other one that's just as bad as this one. So I just choose which ones to stick in here. Let me get some weight wrapped up. We'll be right back. All right, so just some electrical tape. Fold this completely in half. I don't peel the tape on it. Normally when I did my slashes, I would peel the tape and actually stick it to the bumper. But since this is off-road, it seems to not stick and stay on very well. So I'm just making like a lead pack here. And then I can always peel the tape and still reuse these weights. That's it. Just trying to keep them together and keep the dirt out of it so that the weights don't go bad. And this little, I call it the brick, because this little thing is heavy. And on the front of this, you can actually tuck this under the bumper. Kind of want it as low as possible. So I'm going to throw a zip tie in here first. Get a click or two out of it. Put the weight in there. Probably going to have to turn up the springs, because anytime you add weight, it does that. Look how low that sits now. It doesn't rebound now because the weight is just so heavy. And my springs are pretty bottomed out because they are a lighter spring. They're just double the, they're twice as long. So I'm going to add all the pre-tension that I can. And that's just to support it. It's not really to push up the RC. The rear wheels, as you see, is carrying it. So you kind of want it as low as possible, but during braking, you don't want it dragging on the ground because it could hit something or rock something and cause the RC to crash, and we don't want crashes. There we go. Got a little rebound now, which is good. That's what we're looking for. So I'm going to go ahead and get these packs charged up. Get the rest of this thing blown out now that the batteries are out of here. But there we go. I do have to take off the sway bar. I was going to hook up the sway bar, but I like not running a front sway bar because the front is always in the air anyway. So having the sway bar left and right doesn't really matter. So, because it's always, you know, pushing down in the back and lifting the front because we're just going in a straight line. So I just disconnect the sway bar. I think I'm going to go ahead and probably just remove it so it's not in there because it is dragging on the axles. So that's what I'll do next. All right. So I got to get this front sway bar off. I believe it just uses 1.5. And that looks like a 2. body mounts kind of get in the way. Taking this piece off and the sway bar. Now on I'm going to leave the screws in because I don't know if the holes go through the diff. It's going to allow dirt to get inside the differential. So I'll just leave them on, screw them in a little bit. We got that part ready. And I did have a lot of people, well, not a lot of people, because most people know my channel, but new people coming to the channel are like, Earl, how come you don't show your face? I'm like, because it's about the RC cars. It's really not about me. I show my hands a lot. I never show my face. But, so today, I'm going to turn the camera around so we can take a look. So, let me turn the camera around so you guys can see my face for the first time. So I just want to say, it's not about being embarrassed. I just like working on RC cars. So, now you guys know what I look like? Let's get on with it. Another thing I try to do, even though these aren't on rubber tires and you can't get a flat spot, I still put tires underneath them so that when they're sitting here, and as you see the other Mojave, tires aren't even on it. I don't like the shocks sitting under that force. We do a lot of shock tuning, that kind of stuff, and I don't need the weight of this RC collapsing these springs any farther than they already are. We've got them cranked pretty far down, and over time you are going to lose spring tension. So if you can, and you can't avoid it, you know, put your RCs up on something. Especially bashers, I really could care less. You know, the tires get out of round, running them a few times. As long as they're not sitting for months on the tires, you'll be okay. Sitting a couple weeks, no big deal. You'll end up with flat spots in them, especially if you go from a hot day to a cold day. You will end up with flat spots, but for me on a basher, it's really not as important as a speed car, whether it's an on-road car. Take your old speed tires that are no good, that are going to turn into basher tires, and put your RC on a set of those, you know, if you want it to sit on a shelf somewhere. But no, if it's going to sit up on a shelf, you're going to end up with tires that are going to crack, tires that are going to go bad, that kind of stuff. So, just a little Earl's quick tip of the day. I say it a lot. So I've got GoPros charging, I got the SkyRC analyzer charging, I got batteries charging. So I'm going to get out. Tomorrow's video will be me running, hopefully. We're going to get back over to the park. I got to double check a few other things on this, make sure I don't have any shocks loose, any hardware coming loose, because we just slapped this thing together. So this is a piece of the windshield Plexan. It is the shatterproof, or what do they call it, temper resistant, or whatever it is, tempered plastic to where it doesn't crack. And I built the plate. Also sawzawed two circular holes so I can mount my fans on top of this, and the holes are on the bottom and they blow directly on top of each motor. And then relocated the steering servo. This is an upgraded servo, but it's still a no, this is that cheap eBay servo, that 20 kilogram servo is what this is. Thought it was still a Spectrum servo, but this is that cheap eBay servo that I got in there. So I'm going to double check hardware on steering, all that stuff, just to make sure I don't lose control of the RC. And I'm thinking about epoxying this hole. I just don't want a weight spot here. But I'm thinking about adding some epoxy here and letting it dry overnight. I'm not going to do that today because I'm going to get out and run it. I'm going to give the hobby shop a call and see if my wheels came in, and so I can start building, you know, a couple more sets of the Cletus wheels. Still got a few cleats left over. That way we can get the ones we have repaired and get the old set broken down, so I can throw those rims away on the version 1s. But there we go. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Are we making progress? And I am looking for a longer spot. Trust me, I am. I'm doing everything I can to find a longer field. I'll keep looking and keep searching. But until then, I'm going to dial in the RCs, run them at the spot I have, and try to maximize fast speeds in a short distance. But there we go. Like, comment, subscribe. We'll catch you on my next video. Thanks for watching.